Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming today. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Great to see everybody. Thanks for coming in, and all back from winter break. So I'm sure it felt like a very long Monday for some folks. But thanks for all being here tonight. We're going to get right into it. Need to approve minutes from last month's meeting. Did everyone have a chance to look them over? Any questions, concerns? Can I have a motion then? Jennifer, and a second?
I'll second them.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? All right, minutes are approved. Adjustments to the agenda. What we're going to try to do, if everyone gets here, is move 11.1, the new high school courses. We'll try to do that earlier. Maybe make that, if everyone's here, 7.4. Okay. And give them a chance to speak. So if they want to stay for more discussion, fine, but they don't have to. New high school courses. Great. Any other adjustments, or are we good? Okay. 6.0, public session, if anyone's here to speak on any of the topics on the agenda. No? Everybody's here for other reasons. Okay. So we'll move on. So let's get right down to it. 7.0 staff reports, and I'm going to hand it over to Patrick.
So our first one this evening is we have fourth grade students and staff here from Fisher Mitchell and going to talk about the partnership that we have with Maine Maritime Museum. So I'll have Linda Stiles come up, who's a grade 4 teacher for us. And I believe we have Albert and Vivian Smith. Okay, Eliana's not here, but we'd like to thank her for trying to be here. And then Felix, I may not get your last name right, but is it Swaim? Okay, thank you. So welcome and thank you for being here, and we look forward to your presentation.
Is that better? Okay. These students are fifth graders who attended this programming last year, and so they were in fourth grade then. We're here to tell you tonight about, in the fourth grade, RSU1 students study Maine history and the Wabanaki people that have lived here for over 13,000 years. Through programming provided by the Maine Maritime Museum, working in conjunction with district teachers, our students deeply study Wabanaki stewardship of the land and the waters in the past and present. Students visit the museum in the fall for an introduction to the Sense of Place program. They study artifacts, including tools, maps, photographs, and an 18th century birch bark canoe that was also created by Wabanaki people. Students participate in interactive science experiments that are game-based, such as spear fishing with a Leicester spear that was designed by the Wabanaki to account for light refraction. And then in June, we return to the Maine Maritime Museum, where educators from the museum lead a 2-hour boat cruise to Merrymeeting Bay. Students are introduced to estuary ecology, and they learn about the importance of healthy waterways. While on the river, they even perform a turbidity experiment and collect data about the clarity of the river right where they live. We are all very grateful for this programming that they provide us. And now we have a short slideshow for you. That is it. So if you have any questions or comments, we have their students here to answer them.
And before we turn it over to them, I just want to give a plug for the Maine Maritime Museum because they do a great job. It's a great partnership. They do a program with the second graders or fourth graders or seventh graders. And today I was even texting my own two girls. I was thinking, do they even remember doing something like that? And I texted both of them. One's 22 and one's 25 out of state. And they both texted back immediately. Like they remember, might not have been the exact same program, but they still have memories of going to the museum through the schools for their different programming. So with that,
Questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for Albert. Albert, were you able to spear the fish? Yeah. Vivian, have you guys tried spear fishing in the actual ocean? And what, Felix, what would you say was the hardest part about the spear fishing? Did you spear the fish? Yeah, but the refraction was looking through the tank, the small tank. Very cool. So what can you tell me about the river clarity? Yeah, and how did you know? How did you test the turbidity? Very cool. And I didn't catch your name. And what did you like about the boat ride? Very cool.
Other questions? Thank you. Anyone have it? Yeah, Keith.
I was just wondering, for any of you, is that the first time you were on a boat?
Great. Kurt's gonna ask all the boat questions. Yeah, what was your favorite part about when you were going back and forth? Like, did you have a favorite? That's nice. That's cool. Excellent. Anybody else have a favorite? Nice. Great. Oh yeah, go ahead, Katie.
In your studies of the Wabanaki, was there any facts that you learned that you didn't know before that were really interesting or surprising?
There was a lot of things that I didn't know, but I can't recall. Well, it wasn't, I don't know, I'm just remembering we did this project where we had to build a wigwam is what the house is called, what their houses were called, and everybody in the class built a big wigwam. Cool.
So I would just say you guys are very brave to come here and you're all very good speakers in public.
Great job, everybody. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Sounds like a great program. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. That was great. 7.2 here, extended learning opportunities.
Yeah, so we have a kind of a multi-pronged presentation tonight. I think we're going to start with Scott Stinchcomb, who is our extended learning opportunity teacher at Morse. And Scott's going to say a few words, and you also have a video, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. And then after Scott's done, we'll move into Maria Morris, and she's got some students here to speak about some other opportunities that we have here.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to address everyone tonight. I am Scott Stinchcomb. I am the ELO coordinator and teacher. ELO stands for Extended Learning Opportunities. We started the program in September of 2022. We can go to the next slide. So I like to have some kind of summary or just something that speaks to what extended learning opportunities are. It's kind of long, so I'm going to summarize it. But These are hands-on credit-bearing courses outside the traditional classroom with an emphasis on community-based career exploration. They are highly personalized opportunities for students to engage in learning in ways that make sense for them and connect their learning to everyday life in meaningful ways. So they're very unique. It's a unique mix of academic instruction, hands-on experiences that combine experiential learning components like project-based learning, internships, job shadows, and work study. So these ELO opportunities are a great opportunity for students to actually get out and get some real career experience. And it's very unique, but it's a very deep experience for these students. Some students can really find their passion, what they might want to do post high school or college, but it's a really great opportunity for them to get out into the community, meet other professionals, and get that personalized learning experience. Students are placed with a mentor, supervisor, and there's a lot of communication between myself and the mentor supervisor to make sure that the students are gaining that experience and that insight that we're trying to provide for the student. So this is a field trip to the L.L. Bean manufacturing plant. Had some students attend that. It was a great opportunity for students to see, how bean boots are made. Also, just to learn a little bit about the process and the manufacturing of all of their products. And so that was a very eye-opening experience for our students. It's great to get them out there to see it. It speaks volumes for them to actually see what it's all about. And so that was a terrific experience. Another one was at BIW Training Academy. We did this with our ELO students and our Bath Tech students. It's a welding facility, and it's just impactful for the students to see what it's all about. And they did a terrific job kind of demonstrating what welding is and how it works for them. And so our students got to see real professionals doing that actual work. And some students in Bath Tech and in ELO, it's something that they're looking to do eventually. So it was a great opportunity for the students. So we also collaboratively with myself and JMG and Bath Tech, Maria Morris and Julie Stone, and as well as Bath Tech, as I mentioned, we have a financial fitness fair, which is a great opportunity for students to participate in it's kind of an experience on how to be an adult, how to manage your finances. There are different booths that students go to, transportation booth, housing, and groceries, and student loan booth. So they understand, they have line items that for their budget that they have to balance this budget by the end of the event, and it gives them an excellent opportunity to kind of put some things in perspective. How much do things cost? How much will it cost me for a car payment, for my insurance, for gas? And so it's a wonderful interactive experience. I do appreciate one student had mentioned, I realize now with the career I hope to have, I will not be able to afford a mansion on the ocean and a Lamborghini, but I should be able to pay for a good home and a reliable car if I spend my money right. So that is really what I hope and what we all hope that students can take away from that event and that activity. So that was pretty terrific. And we're going to be doing that again at the end of March 28th. The Maine Credit Union will be coming in with their volunteers. They have 20 volunteers. They do a terrific job. And it's a great interactive experience for students to really understand what it's like, what it's going to be like for them once they graduate high school or college and they're on their own. We also have a career and college fair that we host for juniors and seniors for Bath Tech and Morris High School. Last year, we had over 40 employers and colleges attend the event. Students had the opportunity to meet with businesses, college professionals to learn about careers and post-secondary opportunities. This is a terrific way for students to interact with professionals, to get that information that can help them on their next step. And it's really, they did a terrific job, all our volunteers. It's a wonderful opportunity for them to get together and have that interaction. So all school ELO partnered events with ELO and JMG and Bath Tech we had some in the spring of last year. We're going to be doing them again this year. Just to give you some data, we had 152 students attend with more than 20 credit union volunteers that supported the financial fitness fair. The career fair and college expo, 35 to 40 businesses and colleges attended to meet and support our students. 196 Morris High School and Bath Tech students attended the event, it was very well attended. And I hope that we can have more students come this year. We'd like to double that, And then third and final all school event was our hiring fair, which we had 20 businesses attend and 103 students also attended. We had it right out here. Great opportunity for students to secure some summer employment and to meet some potential employers that really need to build the pipeline. So that was a great experience as well. This is just a picture of one of our students last year, and Michael Walden from First Federal Savings, student Nick Pesh, who graduated last year. He participated in an excellent banking and finance ELO experience. He had a great experience there, and they were top notch. Michael Wallen did a terrific job being his mentor, but it's just an opportunity for Nick to get out there and see what finance is all about. How does that work? This is a career he's interested in getting into. So it's that practical experience for him really spoke volumes to him, and it's something that he may look to do down the road. And then there's another picture of our career and college fair. Go ahead, the next slide. And then we also, just some more data, 27 students participated in the ELO program. We built 47 new community partnerships, 25 internships, job shadows, work study opportunities. We did 4 field trips to LL Bean, Harris-Seek-It-In, BIW Training Academy, and Brunswick Landing, which we hit about 4 or 5 different businesses. That is just a great area for us, our students. It was really terrific experience. A lot of innovative business leaders in the community are doing some exceptional things there, and for our students to see that, it's really inspiring to them. And then 13 elective academic credits earned. Next slide. And so far, we have 24 students who are engaged in an ELO experience, elementary education at the Woolwich Central School, horseshoeing, veterinary at the Bath Animal Hospital, technology here at RSU1, childcare, oyster farming, which is pretty cool. I mean, that is a really interesting ELO experience for a student, retail and construction. So, I've also looked at RSU1 being a great partner for us too. We've had some challenges getting students technology ELOs, and we were just kind of kicking around the idea, and Dean Emerson in the tech department was, hey, would this be something that you would be interested in having a student? And it really worked out very well. And we have another student actually doing one this spring also. But this is what we're talking about, getting these students the real hands-on experience that they need that will help them develop their skill set so that they can have a successful career in the future. We do have I also teach a financial literacy course to 26 CPP students. That's been a joy, a lot of fun with that group. And then field trips upcoming with LL Bean, Brunswick Landing, Topsom Fairmont. That's a new area we're looking to check out. And then again, we have the Financial Fitness Fair and College Career Fair coming on the 28th. So this is just a picture of the Harris-Seek-It-In, and our students got to participate in a competition at the Harris-Seek-It-In, who could make a bed faster or quicker. Our team actually won. It was pretty fun. There were about 6 or 7 other schools there. It was just a great opportunity for those students to see what it was all about from the hospitality perspective. And they did a terrific job, Harris-Seek-It-In, hosting us. The next piece is, this is Noah DeSoso. He did an IT. He helped out at the help desk here in technology. He wasn't able to come today, but he wanted to share his experience. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Noah D'Souza, and I'm a senior at Morse. And last year, as a junior, I participated in an ELO with Mr. Stinchcombe. And what I did was that I worked at the RSU1 Tech Desk with Creed Cull, which is located in the Morse High School Library. And most of my responsibilities centered around helping students or even teachers who would come in with broken Chromebooks or other technology. And so I was shown how to diagnose, fix, and then return, their Chromebooks and such to whoever would come in with issues. I also work to help do Chromebook check-ins, which is something that happens every semester at Morse. So everyone has to come in and just make sure that their Chromebook, their case, and their charger are all in order and everything's accounted for. And I learned how to track all of the Chromebooks and chargers in the entire RSU1 district through various softwares that we use. And this was actually a really, really useful experience for me personally, both because I found it interesting and I learned a lot. This is a subject I've never dabbled in before, but because it kind of rearranged my thinking around a potential career path. I've always been a very software-driven person. I do some coding. I've built some websites and apps. And so when I thought about getting into an ELO in tech, I thought it would be in that side of it, in the software side. But this completely rearranged how I thought about that because I found both looking at hardware and also interacting with people through my role, as someone who had to help people who had issues with their technology. I found that really rewarding and really interesting, and it showed me that that's something that I would also want to do in a job that I would have in technology. So yeah, overall, my ELO was an incredible experience. I had fun. I learned a whole lot. This was, again, something I've never ever done before and never thought I would do and never could have done without the ELO program. And it's really helped me as I think, as I'm a senior this year going to college. So it's really helped me as I think about my future.
Okay,
I'm Noah D'Souza, and
that's okay. Well, that was great to hear from Noah, and to really give that personal perspective of what he experienced. He did a terrific job. But that's ELO in a nutshell, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Questions? Go ahead, Jen.
I was thinking about this when I was reading also the Bath Tech administrative newsletter to us for the board meeting, and there's just, I hope that the community really understands how much we appreciate. There are so many wonderful businesses and professionals in our community that are taking this time and getting involved with these issues, and I really admire and respect that a lot. One of the groups that I often think about with this, and I don't know how much you work with them, is the Alumni Association. And so my question is, do they have somebody in the Alumni Association, like an officer? I've got a couple people in mind that actually live on my road, but I'm just wondering, are they a good resource for this
That
kind
would be a
of thing?
great resource. I'd be happy to
Yeah, okay.
reach out. So thank you for that. Yeah.
And the other thing is, have you ever talked to the people at New Ventures when it comes to financial academics and budget planning? I mean, they do such a wonderful job there, and they're very much in the teaching mode themselves. So I just wonder if that's a connection that might ever be helpful for you.
Absolutely. Happy to explore that.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Great. Kurt?
Do you know, roughly, do you have an idea about graduates, if they go into the workforce, or if they go to college, or if they go to trade school, kind of what that breakdown looks like?
That participated in ELO. Yeah, I don't have all that information. I mean, I know I have about a handful of students who participated in the ELO last year that are going towards what that ELO experience was, whether it's in college or straight to work. But that's something that I'll start collecting more of as we grow. Absolutely.
Other questions? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So next up, we have kind of a similar presentation in a way, but JMG and Maria Morris is here, plus a couple students are here with you. But Maria, you're going to kick it off.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight, as well as some JMG students. As Patrick mentioned, I am Maria Morris, and I'm the core JMG specialist here at Morse High School. JMG is an educational nonprofit that has over 150 programs in the state of Maine at the middle school, high school, CTE, and college level. Statewide, we serve 12,000 students. Here in RSU1, we have the core program that I lead here at Morse High School. And then we have the program at Bath Tech, which is led by my colleague, Julie Stone. You can advance the slide. So the mission of JMG is to partner between public schools and private businesses to prepare students for meaningful careers, post-secondary credentials, and a meaningful adulthood. The program at Morse High School was established in 2008, and I work with freshmen through seniors, and JMG is offered as a one-credit elective. Students may take JMG 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's totally up to them. While there are some things within the curriculum that I do every year, such as job attainment and career exploration, I do it in different ways, and I also bring in new projects each year. The curriculum is based on 30 competencies, and you have a handout of those 30 competencies, which are in 6 different skill sets: job and career readiness, post-secondary planning and preparation, financial literacy, information, media, and technology literacy, personal development and branding, global community and team foundations. JMG is moving towards a credential of value system or a badging system, and I want to talk to you about those badges. The first is the Maine Career Exploration Badge, and this came out of post-COVID funding, or not post-COVID, it was COVID funding. And this is for JMG students and non-JMG students, juniors and seniors, where they acquire 40 hours of meaningful workplace experience. And what is key there is that it's career exploratory, plus career planning modules. And at the end, not only do they have this incredible experience that helps them form their post-secondary plans, but they earn the badge and $500. So that's an educational award that they can use however they seem fit. This year, Morse High School is one of 2 pilot sites in the state for the entrepreneurship badge. And so through this semester-long unit, students wrote business plans. They're, in addition to being able to earn a badge, which demonstrates their ability to meet a set of competencies, they can do an extension to earn 3 college credits from Promise College. This year, my 22 juniors and seniors all completed writing business plans. They all passed. 4 of them met the rigorous requirements for earning the badge, and 3 are now enrolled in pursuing the college credit. We are also one of 2 pilot sites for the Global Awareness Badge, which we will pilot later this spring. Just to tell you a little bit more about the Career Exploration Badge, last year was the kickoff year for it, and I had 11 students complete the badge. Pictured here is Andrew Willey, who was my first student to complete the badge last year. Andrew is very passionate about a career in law enforcement, and he completed his hours at the Bath Police Department, Saginaw County Sheriff's Department, and Topsom Police Department. He graduated in June, and he's too young to go on to the police academy, but he is now working as a dispatcher at the Saginaw County Communications Center. And when he interviewed, he made sure to utilize his connections from his badging experience. So far this school year, 13 of my students have completed the badge, and I have 16 more in progress. May I advance? So to summarize some of the highlights for this year, my 41 freshman, sophomore students worked collaboratively, creating 14 career podcasts, highlighting 11 different businesses within the community. Through this experience, not only did they learn about these businesses and a wide variety of careers that they never would have thought of, but they worked together as small teams to create media that will be shared with others. They developed their communication skills and their interpersonal skills. As I mentioned previously, 22 of my junior senior students created unique business ideas and wrote business plans. Coming soon is a new collaboration with the Marriott Residence Inn right in Bath, where students will do on-site mock job interviews for positions available to them as juniors and seniors in high school. And lastly, so far this year, we've had 28 business connections. Before I talk about the Bath Tech program for my colleague Julie Stone, I would like to invite Shamika Williams, who has been with me since her freshman year, to speak about her JMG experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shamika Williams, a student of JMG, and I'm here to share some of my journeys throughout JMG. Life goes beyond high school. Joining JMG in my 9th grade was a decision that significantly impacted my personal and professional development. The program's commitment to teaching practical life skills has been invaluable, laying a foundation that will accompany me on my life's journey. One of the key lessons JMG imparted was financial literacy, learning how to create a budget so that I can spend my money wisely. Understanding credit and insurance became more than just theoretical concepts. It became a practical guide for navigating the complexities for adult life. In my junior year, I had the opportunity to delve into my passion for aviation. Researching and budgeting for the life of a pilot opened my eyes to the real-world implication of my dream career. Through this unit, I was able to earn college credits. This experience added a tangible reward to my academic endeavors. The hands-on aspect of JMG, like the main career exploration badge, allowed me to step into the shoes of a pilot through job shadowing. Connecting with professionals in the field provided insights that textbooks couldn't capture. My JMG specialist connected me with someone from the Wiscasset Airport, which allowed me to fly in a Citabria, make new friends, and find a mentor. I sat in a private pilot license class for University of Maine Augusta class, which taught me the basics of what I would need to learn to be a pilot. It solidified my decision to pursue aviation as I got firsthand answers to questions that I had lingered in my mind. As I entered my senior year, I had another opportunity to do college work. The entrepreneurship module pushed me to think beyond employment and consider building my own business. The assignments from the design logos to formulating marketing strategies mirrored the intricacies of real-world entrepreneurship. The process of comparing businesses in proximity sharpened my analytical skills. Researching and developing a budget made me realize making your own business takes commitment, risk, and willingness to learn from failure. These are just a few experiences that have shaped my understanding of the world beyond high school. JMG has equipped me with the knowledge and confidence to face the challenges that lie ahead. In a sense, JMG has been my compass, guiding me through the practicalities of life, preparing me for the complexities of professional world, and instilling a sense of self-assurance as I step into the future. Thank you.
My colleague Julie Stone is unable to be here tonight, so I'm going to talk a little bit about her role with Bath Tech. Advance, Jake. Her role on the Bath Tech side is a little bit different than what I do as a core program. She teaches a JMG class once a week and does mini lessons on a variety of topics related to the JMG competencies. Her primary role beyond that is to work with students to place them in internships, plan college tours and business tours, and of course, the main career exploration badge. Last year, she worked with students and had 33 Bath Tech students complete the career exploration badge. And so far, she's had 18 this year and with over 70 working towards it. She has also partnered with over 70 businesses to provide these experiences and hours for students. In 2023, she had 11 internship placements. This year, she has 15 internship placements currently, with the potential to add an additional 1 or 2 later on in the year. Her internship locations have been Bowdoin College, Good and U Fuel, Read and Read, Midcoast Energy, VCA Animal Hospital, and we have some folks from VCA here today, River House, Bread in the Bone, Gilman Electric, NW Sewell, Frederick Electric, and Morse High School that she's collaborated with the food service department. She also, as I mentioned, helps to plan and organize the career and college visits for the Bath Tech students. They've gone to several of the community colleges, University of Maine at Farmington, and multiple businesses students have visited, and she's had even more come in for classroom visits. So tonight, I have Isis Scobie with me. Isis is a senior in early childhood. She was enrolled with JMG as well last year with Miss Stone, and last year was in the CNA program, right? Med Science. And she did her badging experience at VCA Animal Hospital, and she's here to talk a little bit about her experience.
Hi there. My name's Isis Scobie. I'm a senior at Bath Tech and Morse High School, and I'd like to share my job shadowing experience through JMG and VCA and how it has helped me blossomed over the past 2 years. Last year, I started in JMG with Miss Stone, and we worked on my main career exploration badge. The goal of the badge is to complete 40 hours of work experience in some online career exploration modules. There's a $500 incentive after completing the hours in online modules. I knew I wanted to work with animals in the future, and Ms. Stone helped me access different experiences in the veterinary field. I started my first 10 hours at Sunray Animal Clinic working with veterinary technicians and veterinarians. They helped me finalize my decision of what I wanted to do after high school. After job shadowing at Sunray, Ms. Stone and I worked together to find another animal hospital to go to, leading me to the Veterinary Clinics of America, VCA, and Bath. I completed the rest of my 40 hours at VCA, and I loved the environment and the people so much, I decided to do an independent study my senior year. I started at VCA in March of 2023, going every Tuesday for 3 hours. I went into appointments and helped around the clinic. I have been able to experience surgeries in mass removal and dental, as well as cytologies of cancerous breast cells and lipomas, gone into appointments with 7 puppies, and been a handmade tourniquet. Without this experience, I wouldn't have been able to explore a field I have always dreamed of going into. From my experience at VCA, I've solidified what I wanted to do with my future. I plan to work with VCA as a veterinary technician and attend post-secondary school online for my licensing. I want everyone to experience JMG because it has helped me become job ready and develop important life skills. I want every kid to be able to have somebody to help boost them to the next level of their career life. I feel JMG is a critical experience for anyone going into any field because it prepares you with the skills you need to be successful in your career and your future. I want to express my thanks and gratitude to VCA and Ms. Stone for giving me these incredible opportunities, as well as getting to know them on a personal level and building strong relationships with them. Thank you.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's wonderful to hear all that. We have some
You ready,
comments.
you ready for questions? Okay.
Should Isis and Shamika come up
Yeah,
too?
sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
come on up.
By the way, you're both well-spoken and it's not easy to get up there and speak. You guys did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic job. Any questions for the students? Right off? Yeah.
I just had I was thinking about that podcast that you mentioned that they created. Is that something with a security issues? I mean, could we put that up on the website for people to be able to? I'd love to see it. I don't know if we could tie that into the app somehow, or is that possible with privacy issues?
So that is like the next item on my list to
Okay.
work through with Dean.
Hmm.
There are some things to work through on the RSU1 side, but also on the JMG side. And so I think we've got it. We just have to meet and
Mhm.
figure out how we're going to do it. But my goal is to put them on the website so students can access them. I mean, so anybody can access them, but I really would love to have students learn from other students and the work that they've created.
Good. Thank you.
Great. Other,
I have a quick question.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it sounds like a fantastic program. So what appealed to you? Why did you decide to choose this class? And how could you get other students to choose it?
Sure. I actually didn't choose this class. No offense, Miss Morris, but I got put into this class on when I 8th grade, Miss Morris came and she presented on JMG, and like in my freshman year, I like see on my schedule that I'm in JMG, so I'm one of the lucky ones.
Can I jump in?
Sure.
So usually what happens is students get recommended and then they complete an application and then they sit for an interview. Shamika was in that COVID year. So no interviews happened because as you remember, March 13th was the last day we were in school. And usually that is recruitment time, March, April, May. So it was kind of like, that was a unique experience that year. But fortunately for me, Shamika wanted to stay.
So Miss Stone came to my medical science class, and at first I was in medical science and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to work with animals, but Miss Stone sat me down in her like classroom and talked to me about like the different job experiences that she could give me, and I signed up with her and I've been really good partners with her ever since. So.
Katie, you had a.
I'm curious if both of you notice with other students in classes other than your JMG or some of your friends, if you both seem to have such a strong vision of what you want to do, if you feel like your classmates also do who didn't do JMG, or you notice yourself a difference between yourself and others. Does my question make sense?
I have a friend, that's in CJ criminal justice, and like she knows what she wants to do, so she's like working towards. She's using like she's a part of JMG, I think, with Miss Stone. Elise.
She did the badge with me.
She did the badge, and like she wants to become a lawyer, and she's like on that path to become a lawyer. So like I think that even though like some kids are not in JMG, like they know what they want and they go after it anyhow they can, and like sometimes they take any opportunity they can get so that they can go onto that path.
I know several people that know what they want to do, but I think JMG also helps, like especially with like the career fairs and all that, definitely helps with leading people in different directions, and being able to intern and go into that place definitely helps solidify what you want to do after high school.
Wonderful. Other questions? Fantastic job. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Really appreciate it, and congratulations. All right, great evening. Let's move on to 7.3, Morse, vision of a graduate.
Yeah, at this time, we'll have Mr. Varney come up and just quickly remind you about the accreditation visit we have in March, and talk just briefly about the vision of a graduate and how that transpired in the process used to achieve that document.
Thank you, Patrick. Good evening, everyone. I just couple of things I did want to start with a reminder. We are in the final stages of our 10-year accreditation process with the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, or NEASC. And the way, just kind of recap, about 2.5 years ago, we started the culmination of those 10-year that 10-year process, and we did a big self-study that involved a lot of stakeholders, mostly the faculty, though. It took a tremendous amount of time on the faculty's part. We had many different committees that came together and really took a deep dive look at what we do well, improvement areas, and so on. And we produced this self-study and provided it to the NEASC organization. They read it, and they had a visiting committee come to us for a conference that's called a collaborative conference, where they look at these areas that we've identified that we feel as though are growth areas. And then they worked with us and looked at those growth areas, and just gave us suggestions and helped. I mean, it was a collaborative process, as the title sounds. And then they give you 2 years, and 2 years to work on these goals. And that's what we've been doing over the past 2 years. And one of those goals, our number one goal, was to develop something called a vision of a graduate. And you have a copy of it in your board packet. And the vision of a graduate is, you can kind of think of it as a mission statement, which has always driven our work for years. And we have, mission statement and these standards. We've had our motto, and a faculty letter, that in these documents that sort of drive what we do. And if it was 10 years ago, NEASC would really be focusing on that mission statement, and what are we saying that we're doing, and how are we proving that we do that. 10 years later, they really want us to have something different, a vision of a graduate, which looks at the graduate and thinks, what do you want to instill in those students as they leave? I mean, obviously we have academic goals, and those are well defined with standards, but what type of values, not values, but principles and things do you want students to have? A lot of them are soft skills. And so we started a process. This was it was an accelerated process. We did not have a vision of a graduate before. So we started in September of 22, really in the summer before that. It was, we started the planning process, but the committee first met in early September of 22, and it stayed pretty steady from there. We have had one person jump on the committee, and we looked at all of these documents that we had that I mentioned before, and looked at what are those values. A lot of them hinted at the values, but none of them really defined what those values were. And one of the first things that we came up with in a full faculty brainstorming is that we loved Think, Care, Act, which is something that we think we've had for about 35 years. And the districts adopted that as well. And so we started with that as our basis. We want, students to think, to care, and to act. And then we just defined out through that process all the different, things that could mean and what we felt were most important. We had a lot of feedback in this process. Every time we made a change, we brought it back to the faculty. We had parents and community members have opportunities to give feedback. We had, that was in the form of online surveys that they could do at home. We also set up kiosks whenever we had folks in, for conferences or whatnot. They would be able to go in and log in and do that. And then when we took that, we'd take that feedback and edit. And then this year, in October of this year, we did a big push with our student body, and we put it out there, and then we did a lesson, a 30-minute advisory session lesson where we rolled out what this was, what it means, and went through the draft of what we had. And we, honestly, I was blown away with some of the feedback that we had. We gave students they provided feedback in the lesson at the end. The student then provided the committee, but then they had an opportunity to provide their own anonymous feedback to that as well. And I thought I would have very few. I had 163 kids choose on their own time to give feedback to that. So it was valuable, not 100% engagement, but some students really took that seriously, and we made some significant edits based on that feedback. The document that you see in front of you right now, we are not soliciting feedback at this point. This is our final draft, and the image that you have in front of you is not the. We have a few different images that we're working through, but the image that you have is a little different. But we had our students do a contest, and one of our graphic design students made this image that the committee is almost ready to pull the trigger on adopting as our official image. This would be similar to our education plan, where it drives what we do, so it'll be in every classroom. And then we look for opportunities to link it to what we do. Our first opportunity was at our last recognition assembly. We've changed the way we do. We do a recognition drawing to close out the assembly. Every time we have one, and teachers or any adults can submit names for just little things that they see happening around. A student's caught doing something really great. We've restructured that, so we're identifying what part of the vision of a graduate they're identifying as that adult has identified that they have demonstrated right there. And we had a rollout video. I'll share. I don't have all the permissions to show publicly here quite yet, but the students, a group of seniors, made an excellent rollout video that they showed this whole student body in the auditorium that just demonstrated what little pieces of what that vision of a graduate is. So the committee, that's the vision of a graduate. You may have some questions around on that, but just lastly, a reminder that at the end of March, the committee is coming for the decennial visit. It's a 3-day visit. It's the 24th, 25th, the 25th, 26th, 27th, which is a Sunday to a Wednesday. You will have an opportunity before the next board meeting. I think it's at 5 o'clock to meet with that committee to discuss, their process and where they're at, and they'll have questions for you. They'll be meeting with stakeholders, obviously faculty members, students, parents, and so on, in this final process. And then they provide, at the end of their 3-day visit, they'll give a snapshot of what they found. Which is, honestly, it's a long process. We put a lot of work into it. There's some level of excitement that, we're going to hear what their view as an independent lens is. It was great after the collaborative conference to hear, some really great things, and it did focus a lot of the professional development over the past 2 years. We will have a growth. We'll leave this with a growth plan as well. So that will be, we have a 1-year check-in, a 5-year check-in. And that growth plan will drive some of the professional development. So, any questions on either the vision of a graduate, particularly, or for this process.
Jen?
I always love vocabulary and where it comes from. And I was really struck by the use of the word grit. And I'm wondering, was that a word that was given to you? By what resource did that word come from?
Great question, and you're not a plant on this one. That was one that came out of the student feedback. It was a very late. I don't know if it was the word grit, but it went around that, and the committee. That was one of the last things we added, and we said, oh, we can't. That wasn't in there, and it's so important, and it's something that we see often and identify. When they dig in. So
it's an old word, and so I was interested to where it came from. And just to clarify, so did you get a template for this process through the accreditation?
Yeah, yes, there was a training that myself and the rest of the committee went to. It was an online training. It was again in COVID. And so they laid out the process, and then we made it, ideally, I think they would have loved to have this process go maybe over 2.5 years. We felt as though we could do it, and provided what we had for timeline that we could do it. And I think we did it more than justice over that time. But they gave a template as in, you want to be consulting with these people. They didn't say you need to do this survey. We took it from there. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions regarding the process or how it worked? It's fantastic. It's just a really great effort. You all must be really happy and relieved that you guys, that's done.
Yeah.
And that you're waiting for the next step. But thank you for sharing all that. Of
course. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
Thank you a lot.
Yep.
Okay. Are we still waiting for?
I think we're good. Eric, we're good to go. We're not waiting for anybody else, right? Okay.
Okay. So for the high school courses?
Yeah. So these are all new proposed electives, correct?
Yep, we're proposing this year so far 4 new. I believe these are going to be the 4 that we'll present for the year. 4 new elective courses. 3 of them are in the fine arts. It just worked out that way. Last year I think we had a tremendous amount of English electives that we talked to you folks about this time last year. We have a new AP that we'd like to bring on board. AP 3D, which Constance Pineski is here she can speak a little bit about. 2 music courses. So we've been batting this around for a number of years, adding a guitar 2 and a piano 2, which has been a constant request from students of once they get through that introductory level, we don't have anything else. And so can we add something else? And then the last one is a very interdisciplinary course that Katie can speak more to as well, because it came out of a large discussion in the community that involved in the community action grant for students who are a lot of the skills actually that we heard that are great in JMG, kind of bring this to a broader scale at Morse. So maybe we'll start with the 2 music programs if you'd like to discuss a little bit on the guitar 2 and piano 2.
So good evening. Yes, for years I've taught both piano and guitar, introductory, very beginning, this is a guitar kinds of things. And what happens is a lot of kids, in fact, I went through and looked at how many kids basically ended up taking guitar 1 or piano 1 again. They come in because they just want to be around they want to hold the guitar, they want to be at the piano. And more kids are saying, is there a guitar 2? Is there a piano 2? So finally this year we said, let's really just go for that. So let me tell you, generally, I went down to guidance today and said, how is it, they're already sort of in the sort of, is this something you might be interested in? 29 students already requested guitar 2, and that's a class right there. And that's just a beginning thing. And there's 11 that already requested or are interested in piano 2. So I think they clearly will fill. And I'm very excited about that. In guitar 2, I mean, you can imagine we're going to require proof that you can either if you didn't take guitar one, you'll have to come or piano, you'll have to come and show proof that you can start at the second level. We'll allow that as long as they show proof of that. But it's, in guitar, continuing a more complex chords, use of more like not just strumming a chord, but more of the finger picking, which some kids are really excited about learning, different strumming patterns, being more musical about their, at the beginning level, they're just trying to get those chords and all of that under their hands. And so now it'll be more adding musical things. How do we get louder? How do we get softer, have accents? And as I said, I already have kids. I had this year, as we speak, I have students that took Guitar 1 first semester, and they showed up again in Guitar 1 for second semester. So they've already just finished it, but they just wanted to be in there and continue on. And at first I thought, oh, no, but they've been great. I always say to any student who's come back in, I'm going to teach the beginners. So, we'll get you going as much as we can. But then piano 2, that you always can get to more complex chords again and scale patterns, more intense and interesting literature, and use the use of the two hands more so. Like right now in beginning piano, you get this hand maybe going and then something, but now maybe more broader use. Kids are excited. I mean, if 29, and 11 have already shown a great interest, I think they'll fill. I think the problem we might have is, how are we going to have enough blocks to have teachers available to teach these? So the good news is both band director and choral director, in my case, can teach piano, and guitar. Typically you can, like I've taught piano, taught guitar. So that's those music classes. The kids are excited. They're very excited. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Any questions?
No, sounds like you're on your way
Yeah.
already.
We even have some some books already in the, in the files from, it must have been an offer before or just whatever. So
Great.
we'll maybe need a few extra textbooks, but all right. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Do you want to vote separately or?
No,
all
we'll
together?
just do it all
Do
together.
together.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we'll hear from Constance on AP 3D art.
Great.
So this is very exciting for us because since I've been working here for 25 years, all I've known Morse to have is AP drawing. And the College Board actually has 2D in there as well, but we've only had drawing. And I think we could adopt that eventually as well, but we have such a strong ceramics and 3D program that I thought that we really do need to have that as well in the AP course offering. So AP drawing is usually a small class, and I run it along with Art 4, drawing and painting. And so this class would also probably be offered at the same time, just because of the numbers. They won't always be high. We may have 1 or 2 people who want to do 3D, so it's not going to be a strong, like, supply demand kind of course. But we just really feel like we should offer it to anybody who's really interested in the 3D program. So not sure if there's anything else I was going to say, but that was pretty much it wrapped up.
So what is this? The prerequisites are the ceramics 1 and 2?
Definitely, yes, strongly ceramics and sculpture, because I mean, they're going to work with wire. There might be other mediums that they should have, but the ceramics would be a strong one right off the bat. So.
Great.
And we're so nicely, conveniently located close by. So, we're kind of like teaching at the same time kind of thing. So it's not like a, I don't know what to do with this.
Right.
So.
Caroline?
Yeah, I also just wanted to say, just like coming from a student, that ceramics is definitely like a very popular class. Like a lot of students take it. I remember
taking it last year and just being so excited to be a part of it because I didn't have to take ceramics 1. I went right into ceramics 2, which typically doesn't happen. But yeah, I think it's a great, like, I think just class, and like everyone loves taking it, I think. So I think it makes sense to have that be a prerequisite.
So it gives students another thing to go for
sure, yeah. And
after.
I think I don't think you're able to take ceramics twice. I don't know though.
No, you just end up doing an independent study.
Yes, and it's often it's such a popular class that it's often like hard to. Often students get really disappointed when they can't fit it in their schedule or things like that. So I think it's very important and good.
Great. Excellent. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Thanks for having us.
In our last one is Adulting 101. So Katie, do you want to talk specifics on this? I can fill in as well.
So we actually had this very well queued up with everything you all just saw. But this course actually comes out of the Working Communities Challenge grant, and that I've spoken about before. And there is a youth action group, which is some of our current students and some of our graduated students who offer ideas and give us feedback for this community grant. And this was one of their main asks, is that they wish they had been more prepared in certain aspects, but weren't of just doing life, but weren't necessarily a student who ended up in the JMG program or in, one of the, or, the finance class we offer, or in one of the Bath Tech programs that might review some of these concepts. And so their idea was that we create an elective called Adulting 101, which essentially puts all of these skills into one course that students who aren't in any of those programs can sign up for. This would be a collaboration between Maria Morris and Sarah Bingham. And Eric and I will be working. We have our first brainstorming meeting next week to really, as long as this is approved, hit the ground running on developing a curriculum that would make sense for this.
Sounds great.
I just one addition to this, it's important to note that a lot of those things that you can see on the list are things that are already taught at Morris, but it's kind of bringing all of those together in one elective course. And that's how we'd started. I mean, in an ideal world, this would be, a requisite for a diploma. We're not there yet. We'll start with an elective course and see where we go from there. We have talked all of these courses we've talked about in the leadership team at Morris, and there was support. We offer some of these things in financial math. Not everybody takes it. We offer these things obviously in JMG or an ELO experience, but not everybody has that. So hopefully we could bring this together.
Isn't some of it? I mean, the only stuff that I saw that would be from a required course would be health, right? A few of the items.
Yep. There'll be
kind
some
of crossover
with health. Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yep.
that's it.
Yeah.
Caroline.
I don't know if this was said, sorry, but how many, is it going to be 1 credit or half a credit? It doesn't say on the.
It's a semester half credit to start, and then we'll see where we would go from there.
Okay,
if we
so
want
it's a
to
semester.
offer an adulting 102 or or whatnot.
All right, great. Any other questions? Jennifer, go ahead.
I'm always amazed at the part of the adulting is that how most every person uses a vehicle, a car or a truck, and yet when they were more accessible to have people be able to fix them or work on them, it was a part of an automotive. I mean, it was very easy to gain that knowledge, and now it's amazing how many people don't even know if they have a spare tire in their car, or how to use AAA, or we have these tools that we have to use every day. I mean, there is ubiquitous computers, but we seem to not be responsible or not have to know too much about them, and they've gotten far more complicated. So there's still very limited things that you can do, but just a sense of like how you're safe in your vehicle. It's maybe we don't have the big snowstorms any longer here, but still there's like enough of those things that I think people just assume that you get the knowledge from somewhere. Like a lot of these things are those wonderful things that, you're not going to miss out on because someone didn't teach them to you. But hopefully there'll maybe be just that concept of how to be safe in your vehicle and how to like manage how to prepare your vehicle for certain things. So thanks.
And I'm just curious, did we have, I mean, this is kind of cyclical too. I mean, have we had this kind of course in the past?
Not really.
Or not?
We did have, it was essentially a Health 2 course.
Mhm.
Probably maybe 10 years ago was probably the last time that we offered that. And like similar to our electives, if it filled, we would run it.
Right.
And that ironically, Sarah Bingham was a teacher here back then and ran that. And she's here again. And so we're gonna collaborate with her and then see, hopefully it fits in the schedule.
And this was
So-
coming because of that grant. Yeah, it's just fascinating how it goes because, as old as I am, I was back in the 80s and I remember having to take something in high school as a freshman where they taught you how to write checks and budgeting. I mean, it was a requirement. It wasn't even an elective back then, but I'm just saying, so I know how some of these trends, they come and go, but it's good to see that it's back and we have the opportunity to do it because I think it's extremely important. Of course, the word adulting didn't exist then, but it was the Stone Age, but yeah, it's really great to see it. Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Well, no, home ec was different. No, we also had to take that, but that was different. That was sewing and cooking and everything else. Yeah. Okay. Is everyone okay if we take this all together? Okay. So I need a motion.
I move to approve the 4 new courses.
Great. Second by Jen. Any other questions, concerns? All in favor? All right. Thank you so much for taking the time and being here and explaining all that to us. And we're very, very happy to move it along. Hope lots of kids sign up. All right. So we got that done. And let's move on to student board rep report. Good to see you both here today. I thought Caroline had taken off for college because she was so excited, but she's still here, so that's good. So yeah, take it away.
Okay, so first I'd like to start off with we had recently had the recognition assembly and the top 10 were announced. I just wrote them down from memory. I do not have them in the correct order, but I thought I should say their names. So I have Noah D'Souza, Evan D'Souza, Fritz Bertelsmann, Addie Hines, Elena Trundy, Liam Druniak, Sarah Willette, Chase Rothwells, Grace Tatro, and Thomas McMahon. So congratulations to those students. Also, National Honor Society has recently started connecting with Bath Middle School and has been trying to connect with Fisher Mitchell. I'm not really sure how that's working out, but it's kind of been like a mentoring thing going on. So some students, if their schedule allows them, go down to BMS on Thursday mornings every couple weeks and kind of just meet with students, help them along with their classes, whatever they're struggling with. And it's been pretty successful so far. But Ms. Myers, I think, is still trying to figure out how we're going to be able to do it with the younger students as well. And the winter sports have sort of taken a wrap. I know there are a few more students still competing, but the Winter Sports Awards Night is happening this Wednesday from 6 to 7.
And then just for some other things, SCLC hosted a discussion on implementing weighted grades and whether or not the student body wanted that. It was a mixed turnout. A surprising amount of students did show up, but they've yet to decide whether or not they're going to try and pursue it and bring it to the school board. As noted, we had the recognition assembly, and Delaney Cruz was nominated as Student of the Quarter. So congratulations to her. And also, as noted, winter sports have kind of wrapped up. So we started spring sports signups. I know tennis was today in the gym, and boys swimming won KVACs. So congratulations to them.
Thank you. Any questions for our student reps? Anything else going on? All right. Thanks for all the info. Appreciate it. I'm going to move on to the superintendent's report.
Yeah, just a few items. We started our visioning process for Dyke Newell, Fisher Mitchell, had a great group, and Ron Lamar did a great job with that first meeting that we had. So we're excited to continue with that. I went up last week and provided some testimony, answered some questions, Eloise, Vitelli's, Bill. Um, it was fine to go up. I think it was positive, and we're gonna have to wait and see. And maybe there's an amendment that we can look at. But we got our points across about why we feel we should be considered for an emergency project. Promethean boards, I think we purchased 30 of them, and with our COVID money, and we were able to disperse those mostly in our K2 for our UFly program, but also in math all the way up through eighth grade, because obviously we don't need them here. Bath Tech. You can see in their minutes that they've been out doing their PR work to the different schools to get our numbers for next year. And then lastly, just a reminder, I think it's March 6th, 6:30, I think, is the Fine Arts Night here at Morse. So if you don't have anything to do, it's a great evening of music and art together.
When is that?
That's March 6th at 6:30. And that's it.
I'll make it short and sweet. So tonight we're looking at January. So we're 7 months in, a little bit over halfway. We've spent a little over $22 million, so 53%. I did have the opportunity to look at some of the accounts closer, and I can tell you for sure that we will go over in our substitute line. In all our substitute lines, and no specific one reason. I did add up while I was sitting there. We have 52 sublines, so there's a lot of activity in and out of different schools, areas, and that type of thing. But we will be over budget on that, so we'll have to look at that for next year's budget. As far as the revenue coming in, we're at 62%. Once again, on our interest on investments, we're a little bit higher than what we had budgeted, but I also moved that $7 million into a special account for Dyke Newell, and just for part of the month, we've brought in $19,000 in interest for Dyke Newell, so that was good. So we'll just keep building on that. ARP, we're at 75%. And then there's still some operation and maintenance projects that are being worked on now that we'll try to finalize. And that's about it. Questions? All right.
Okay, so now we are at second reading of the board policies. Should be action unless we decide otherwise tonight. Let's start with the student transportation policy. Do you want to address?
Yeah,
Start
I
with
mean,
it?
we did take, I don't know if it was Jamie or somebody from last meeting or 2 meetings ago, mentioned possibly doing a survey to K-1 to parents. And so Katie worked with Dean and we were able to get that out. We did get quite a bit of feedback, which was good. And it was a little, I don't know if I would say it was surprising, but it was, 50, I don't know, 55 in favor of us making that change. Right now, we only require K to have an adult there or some type of guardian. And we were proposing or thinking about making that K1 too. And 55% were in favor of that, but 45 were against that. And I think I would, if I was to summarize, people can add, I mean, you guys have the survey, you can add your piece to it, but I think it was more that people feeling like maybe where they live in Bath, that it's so, I don't want to say convenient, but it's maybe it lends itself in some people's minds to that this hasn't been much of a problem or an issue or a concern, and so I think it makes us think a little bit about whether it is necessary. Obviously, some people argue that by going to K-1-2, it makes it safer. But as you read the survey, parents feel like, let me make that decision. If I feel like my first grader needs to have a parent or guardian there, then I'll make sure I'm there. I did talk with one of our principals. I didn't get a chance to talk to the other two today. From our perspective, there were some comments in here about change it to K-1-2, but give us the option to opt out. And for us, that would just be very difficult because from a logistical standpoint for the bus drivers, but also for our secretarial staff or office staff. So I think that would be a tough one. I think, we're at a point where we either keep it just K. And again, I would say once in a while, we have had, a K student dropped off where they thought that the parent or guardian was there, but they weren't. And we worked through those. I did ask one of my principals today, have we had any concerns about, from parents or from community about grade 1 and 2? I don't know, just not having a situation with someone in the community and it being unsafe, and we haven't had that concern brought to us. So I'll stop there and just open it up for any discussion that you guys have. We may want to discuss it more, think about it more. We may just want to table this. It's up to you. So.
Does anyone have any?
Well, I guess, and I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I don't know how much I read the minutes, which was helpful. But I guess that's my question is, after really hearing some of the emails we got and the survey, what prompted the change? Like, what was there an incident that prompted the change?
There was one this fall that it was a kindergarten student, and there was just a confusion piece on that. And so then it just made us as a district just talk about it and say, why don't we do a little research on this? And we talked to a couple different school districts around us, and I think one does it with K-1, one does it with K-2. And so I guess I wouldn't say there's a pattern at all. And our policy has been K for as many years as I've been here. So, yeah.
I guess that's where some of those comments, and I often feel changes we make in schools often feel like we're working against parents, and this just kind of feels like another thing we're working against parents on. And if we're not going to, because the designee, you're not saying like I could say, oh, the second grade brother can be the designee, right? We're not really saying that.
Well, I think what we would be comfortable with is if somebody said, hey, I when I'm not able to be here, say on, I don't know, Monday and Fridays, I give, my, a designee, an adult designee.
Adult.
Right.
I guess that's where, because I was reading, a lot of older siblings or the one that walks. But I also feel like too, sorry, I might sound like I'm on my soapbox now, but I feel like we take away. So like the helicopter parent comment really stuck out to me, is that we try to manage so many things that we don't allow students or children to figure out life. And then they need adulting 101 when they get to, no, I'm not making a joke about that, but I guess that I'm not saying it really well, but yeah, and we live in Bath, Maine. I don't. So I feel like I would have a hard time voting for the change at this point.
Yeah, what I find interesting is that for everyone writing that they'd be happy with it, they're already, if you're concerned, they're already there.
Yeah.
No one's stopping anyone from being there to pick up their kid when they get off the bus. And we haven't heard I'm not hearing. And so then there are folks who, maybe they're at the house or the kids, going to some neighbors or something, because yes, there's still a lot of parents who are working outside the home and aren't going to be there at that time. So yeah, I do feel like it kind of, and I feel like people who really feel they need to be there can be there or find someone to be there. And a lot of the families are pretty much raising their kids to, okay, well, their older sibling's going to be bringing home the younger sibling, and that's what we've been counting on. So I'm not, I don't, yeah, I'm not sure that I could vote for that at this point either. It doesn't, I'm not sure that it's, that's where we need to be, but anybody else?
Well, it just made me think, as I was reading them, is that we are such a diverse group of schools. Like, we're not just Bath, we're not just Woolwich or Phippsburg. It really is. And I noticed that that is one of those things we really try to strike that balance of meeting the needs of a very diverse school system. And so I really felt for that sense of we're a working family and we have to figure out how to do it. And I do worry, though, that just because something hasn't happened, like we don't, we wait till something bad happens and then we say, okay, well, if that's the reason we decide to do something, it's sad that maybe we can prevent something bad from happening. But I do feel it was difficult to say the parents are just trying to work and how they figured out what's right for their children. I don't want us to be blamed in not taking the right action. If a little child, I know they're gonna look to you and say, why did that, you're the knowledgeable person. You should have done something about the entity or bus driver, I felt like the bus drivers too. So, but I think there was enough response to say that maybe this isn't something that we can address in advance. I don't know.
Any other comments, Kurt?
I would just like to point out that I brought this to the attention of Patrick based on a conversation I had with a parent whose kindergartner was dropped off on the first day of school, with no parent visible, and there was a mix-up with the bus driver. Thought it was the student was a sibling of another student. Student wasn't even supposed to be on that bus, but there was a mix-up, and the student said, "This is my stop." The bus driver said, "Okay, that must be your sibling." So there's not a pattern, and there's not overwhelming, I guess, responses to this. I guess I'd probably prefer to abstain if there's a vote. But I would say that if we're not going to provide accommodations for parents, who don't want to do this, if that's too complicated, maybe there's a way to work, because this did happen on the first day of school and it hasn't happened since. Is that correct? Probably.
Yeah, again, I talked with one of our principals today, but yeah, we had that one incident that was unfortunate the first day of school this year.
And so maybe there's a way to take more care with communication and vigilance the first week of school, especially at the elementary level, and really have that be a heightened aspect of our, jobs and of the administrators and of the bus system.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that first week, because everything we point to, it's always happened the first. And with, another bus company many years ago, there was an issue on that first day, first couple days when it was a new bus company and they didn't know the routes. And, so the first week, that makes a lot of sense because, like I said, people who are concerned, nobody's stopping the parents from being there to pick up the kid when they get off the bus. And, that works out great. But, yeah, I think if we just are more vigilant on the first week, come up with a policy for the first week, so everybody's, good. Caroline, you?
Yeah, I was just wondering, does this take in any account to, parents or families who aren't able to send? Like, if this rule did become, you are required to send someone else with the child K through 2, what would someone do if they aren't able to send? If everyone's at work or there's no older
Right,
sibling?
that's why it's an issue.
Yeah,
That's one of the big reasons that by making it a policy, it becomes, we're not trying to create a burden for parents. We're we're trying to weigh safety versus added burden to things. And like I said, if it comes down to there's something specific about any given student who needs more help or they need help figuring out what to do, well, then that's in an individual basis. But I think Jennifer, did you have something else?
Well, we do require it for kindergarten. So we have some level here that we do this. And I just think of a first grade student, not just on the first day or first week of school, but the first half of school, it seems like with each student, they're kind of more the year before. Like it takes them a while to become that grade level in all other things. And so I think that first grade student is kind of a kindergartner in the beginning. That's how I was looking at it, to extend it to first grade, is that if we feel like there is a reason or a requirement for a kindergarten student, how different is that first grader? And at least, I guess, having that idea of doing it, trying it, or like highly recommending it that first couple weeks of school, I think that's a great, place to start with something like this. But yeah, I don't know, like developmentally, how different a child is between those months. And if we require it for one grade level, I don't know.
Yeah, go
Well, I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I think if the student was a student in kindergarten and they spent the whole year going on the bus, they're very well gonna remember that as a first grader. The routine, I just think, and I just think we also have to uh, give the opportunity to be independent, where I don't think a lot of these I don't know for sure, but I don't think the bus stop to their houses are all that far. And, but I could be wrong. I know in the rural places, they're pretty much, you're right at your front door. I mean, my kids get dropped off right at my front door, pretty much.
Okay, so given all that, what do you want to do? Do you want to table it? Do you want to ask that we come up with a more of a policy for the first 2 weeks of school to make sure everybody's on board, so that, that because any issue that's happened thus far, that's when it's been, and come back and I mean, I don't know what that does to, because we still need to approve a transportation policy that's been somewhat updated, right? Or
Yeah, I think, I mean,
how would you
my thought
approach it?
process is, you don't have to, but you could pass it tonight, just, directing us to go back to change that back to its original language as kindergarten students. And really the onus is on us as a district to, in those first couple of weeks of school, I was talking to one of our principals today to make sure that, we're really paying close attention. And then I don't think it probably belongs in policy, but if we put something in newsletters just saying, as parents, guardians, to help, at the beginning of a year, it's, encouraged, for the first week of school to be out there, that type of thing. But I don't know that it belongs in policy. So we could pass it tonight with just going back to that kindergarten language on page 2, leave everything else the same if you're comfortable with that.
Okay, are folks comfortable with that? Yeah. Okay, so can I have a motion then for that policy?
Sounds like a complicated one.
No,
No.
no, no. So it would simply be that you're
Uh,
you were reverting back to the original language of kindergarten only.
Kindergarten, second grade student.
Mhm.
All right, so I move to approve the changes except for the kindergarten through second grade students, which will revert back to the original wording.
Okay, can I have a second? I need a second. All right, any further discussion? Is everyone clear on what we're voting on? Yeah, okay. So all in favor? All against? Any abstentions? One abstention, okay. And then records management is next. That's one we're supposed to vote on as well. Did everyone have a chance to look that one over again? Any questions on that policy? Any concerns? If not, may I have a motion? Okay.
I'll second.
And you'll second. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor? Okay, I was gonna say to you, are you for or against? Okay. All right, so we've got that done. So those two then are now passed and one modified and then passed. And we're done with the old business. All right. New business, we already did the move to the new high school courses. And so Katie, you were up with,
Yep.
update.
With all of the instructional updates we've already had, I just planned one quick thing, which is that we had talked about the MIHAS, the Maine Integrated Youth Health Survey data being presented soon. However, Patrick and I just got an email from Midcoast Hospital saying that they've hired a company to help them do an even more in-depth analysis, and we'll be sharing results with districts and set up meetings with principals. And so I would prefer, if it's okay with all of you, to wait, because they're, you know, I can put something together, but I'm assuming someone who looks at data professionally would do a great job. So we'll just push that back until we receive
Do you
a
have any
copy
idea
of
of
that.
their timeline, or did they not say?
Sometime by the spring, it seems like,
spring?
from the
Okay.
email. Yeah.
Great.
So that was it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Katie. Any questions? Yeah.
And Kate, it's not about that, but it's just something I'm kind of looking at our goals and looking at the reports that we got. The fourth grade testing that happened recently. I don't really.
It's named something else.
Yeah. It's,
every time.
and
Yeah. NAUP.
Yes. I was just wondering if we could have a plan on reviewing that data. Is that something that usually comes back to us or not?
I've never looked at that data, NAEP, because it's the national one where we get
randomly selected.
So it's not all of our schools.
That's not all the time.
It's not something we use for our own data measurement. It's for the national database.
Oh.
So do we get that?
I've never seen a report.
So what you're looking for would be what, NUIA?
Yeah,
Like when we get the
NUIA won't happen till much later
Okay.
this spring. So.
All right, we're on the overnight out-of-state field trip requests. There are 3. And everyone have a chance to look at those? Yeah. And were there any questions on those? Can we take them all together? You have a motion? Okay, thank you, Anita.
I'll second.
And seconded by Megan. And if there's no other discussion, all in favor? All right, that is passed. And then this first reading of these policies, I'll just go through them quickly. That has a lot to do with private vehicles for school business. There's a staff permission form related to that. And then some extensive ones on student computer and internet use, internet safety, student computer and internet use rules, agreement to publish student information on school district websites and school district website web pages, administrative procedures. That's not for action tonight. It's for y'all to look over, but I assume these are just updates, right? There weren't any other reasons for bringing these back up, except that it's a constantly changing universe, the multiverse, as they like to call it now. So is there any questions on any of those tonight? So you have more clarity for next time? Okay, we're all good with that then. And thank you for putting all that together. And then 12.0 personnel.
I guess one quick question. Does anyone know how often private vehicles are used? I mean, is it like daily? Is it?
No. This is a combination of, we did buy some vans, that are used, but when it comes to a private vehicle, it's not something that's done very often. And there's a procedure that you saw in the policy that needs to be used, and, with the parent permission, but also staff person with insurance and, checks, things like that, but not very often at all. But it's just a procedure to have in place when it's necessary.
Great. So go ahead. Personnel items.
We have one resignation, Amy King, who's a special ed teacher at Bath Middle School, and would like to thank her for 27 years of service to the district.
Great. 13.0 board goals. Jennifer, anything you want to address?
Yeah, I want to I'd say that our goal of communication, I think, was well addressed by that survey. Thank you so much for that, Katie. And I'm really glad that we were able to continue to connect and get feedback from the community. Item 2 is safe and supportive schools. And it's not a direct correlation, but I was really interested in learning more about the freshman awareness program that's going to be happening at Morris. I do think that really helps the supportive and safe schools and helps connect with freshmen and see what their challenges are. And then I was very happy that we got to hear about the 4th and 5th grade programming at the Maritime Museum, because that also speaks to our pre-K 5 programming. So our goals, meeting them, are well, and they are alive, and we are hitting them consistently.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Jennifer on goals? Thanks for addressing all that. So our next meeting is going to be Monday, March 25th. Here, the other thing I just want to highlight, and you'll be getting emails on this, is March 4th. That's what, Monday, right? Yeah. Monday, 3 to 6:30. Are we doing it right here? Probably. Finance committee review. So this is where we start in with the cost centers. It's budget season. It's going to be a particularly difficult budget season, as you all know. So we just want to make sure, if it is at all possible for you to even be here for part of that, please come. It's just very important that, you know, as much information as you can have, because we're going to be looking at this whole picture and really deciding what is essential, what we're gonna, you know, what we may have to cut, what we have to live without, even if we don't want to. And the only way to do that is to be as fully informed as possible. So if you can, you know, do the best you can to make it, and if not, you know, we'll be available to talk through with you on any issues, you know, if you can't. So just, you know, communication is going to be everything for this budget season. If there's nothing further, can I have a motion to adjourn? Jen?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you. Megan?
I second.
All in favor? Thank you all for a really great meeting. Appreciate it. Take care.